Hey, Rosebud. How's it going?
Good.
I don't know why I was deer in headlights there for a second.
'Cause
Maybe it was the clap.
I don't know.
Could have been the clap. Hey, really quick. So, welcome to We Have to Crew. Actually, I was going to go into a diatribe, so I'm glad I didn't do that. Welcome to our wonderful Do We Have to crew. We have another wonderful edition of Do We Have to, a marriage podcast today. I'm your host, Sean.
I'm Emily.
And today, the focus, the overall major topic that we're going to be discussing is sleep, specifically with our children.
Yes.
And, we've got
It's one of my favorite activities.
We're going to look at the importance of sleep and how sleep can really, truly, it kind of controls everything. I know we've been doing this segment, this ongoing series on just parenting in general and kind of what the state is of our children right now. And we've tackled mental health, we've tackled physical health, but a lot of these too, I think some of these things can be mitigated just by having a good regular sleep pattern. The problem is that everything in this world prevents us from sleeping.
Yeah.
So
basically,
pretty much everything that is now mainstream in society really does have an effect on our sleep, as we've looked and done the research and those sorts of things. So we're going to dive into those topics today. We're going to talk about what is the state of sleep for children right now. I'm sure you can learn things as an adult too that'll be helpful for yourself. We're going to provide hopefully some things that can be helpful for not only for us, because we're going to start including those things, but also for you guys as well. But before we get to that, we're also going to be going over we have a new Sour Patch Kid moment, which of course it's a local one. It's one from our family, that we're going to go over that we didn't want to pass up. And then we're going to play our final round or our final card for round 3 of Let's Get Deep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is a Not Actual Family Studios production. And our executive producer is Colin Schmedium-Maskell. And we were actually just talking about Colin because Colin's getting ready to do a trip to Europe and we're very excited for him. And I was curious, is there a European version of Schmedium? And my assumption is it's smaller just because everything here in America, including the people, are typically bigger. And I was one of them, and still am. But I imagine it's slightly smaller. So all I can see right now, all I'm envisioning is Colin for the past 3 weeks has just been in his office, not eating any carbs at all, and doing at least 1,000 to 10,000 crunches a day, and at least 1,000 push-ups in preparation. Tell me I'm wrong. He's canceling meetings. He's fucking just chowing down on really old, out of date, weight loss supplements like Metabolife from the 90s that he's kept, stuff like that.
I don't know that he has ever taken a pill.
How do you think he fits in his Schmedium shirts so well? And then claims they're large, which by the way, audience, I'm pretty sure he writes in that it's large. It's not a large. It's definitely some sort of between a small and a medium.
That family is one of the most active families I've ever met.
I know. That's why I was talking about him working out in his office.
Are very disciplined.
Yeah. I don't think I said anything bad.
But they're also very genetically blessed.
I think that plays into, though, what Colin would be doing in his office during work hours.
I don't know. I don't have time to worry about what Colin does in his office.
Oh, really? I think about Colin all the time.
I mean,
if you don't like Colin, you can just say it.
I like Colin. And I think he knows that.
I know he's threatened to fire you multiple times.
I don't think Colin's threatened to fire me.
Well, he's implied it. I've had to give you the warning.
You have threatened to fire me.
Not at all. Never. I can tell when Colin's hot. He's got these one little response text, and I can tell. Okay,
I'm very aware that I am wife number 1, and that the second wife that comes in will be doing a better job at this than I would.
Nobody will ever replace you except for Colin.
I'm your first wife.
Colin will be the only one that fires you in this situation. Sometimes I just can tell where the road's going, and I know Colin is just sitting back and he's just white knuckling, driving home, thinking about us. And I know that then I just have to threaten you a little bit to get you back on track because because what's Colin's basically making.
I mean, 90% of everything that goes wrong with this show is my fault.
That is not true. This is Do We Have to Crew. Emily does a great job. I don't even know what we were talking about the last time, but because we didn't record the show on the day that we were planning on because life happened. Yeah. And you can just tell Colin's not okay with it. I say, Colin, you just tell me, I'll fire her. If you don't like her taking a nap and not doing the show, I'll fire her. Just tell me. Yeah. And that kind of calms him down, but that also gets you.
But I've also had microphone problems and picture problems and voice problems and I sneeze and I cough and I do all sorts of stuff.
We're still here. So good luck, Uncle Colin, on your fun trip, and we will be wishing you the best. And we'll try to do you honor on today's show, and hopefully you won't threaten to fire Emily at any point after this show airs. Wouldn't be the first time.
I've been fired multiple times.
And if you keep going over on banter time, he's going to fucking do it.
I know.
But I will say, we are talking about sleep today, and we can jump into the Sour Patch Kid moment here in a second. But if the audience can see, and usually Colin, and I think it's because Colin's ashamed of my legs or my lower part of my stomach. He's like, you're not in good enough shape yet. And he hasn't directly said it, but he's just like, hey, are you still running? He says that a lot. Like, hey, how's the running going? He's like,
I don't think
fat fuck. But he doesn't say fat fuck. He looks at me and he goes, how's the running going? Like that. Did you see how I did that?
He runs.
Yeah, I know. It has nothing. Colin looks like a goddamn Abercrombie model. We don't have to worry about Colin. But my point is I've just noticed on the show, if you're watching it on YouTube, what is it? YouTube. It's at Do We Have to Marriage Podcast?
Yeah.
YouTube.com if you want to watch the show, or you can get there by going to dowehavto.com. But I've noticed Colin really focuses up here. So I think he's comfortable with how I've gotten my body in shape up to here. But I've noticed he's very much like, it's almost like 1 second away from blurring this out. But he just kind of puts the screen in.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about Uncle Colin. No. Being ashamed of my body.
Okay.
No?
No, I don't.
I just noticed, so. You can see all of you because you're beautiful. I just noticed he's very much closing up. All you're seeing is basically like my face and my eyes and maybe a little bit top of my chest.
Okay.
Anyway. I don't know. Just a thought. Sour Patch Kid moments. We had a wonderful birthday party last week.
Great segue.
You're welcome. We had a wonderful birthday party last week with our wonderful, wonderful family, Kylie, Aunt Kylie, and Uncle Zach. Uncle Zach is the godfather of our wonderful little Maeve, who is the Sour Patch Kid of Sour Patch Kids.
Yeah, she
but Emily got a pickup of a wonderful little Sour Patch Kid moment from our little baby Dom.
Yeah. Yeah. So Dominic,
you want to break that down? What's the scenario?
Well, Kylie told me that Dominic was on his way home from daycare or preschool, whatever it's called. And he goes, Mommy, I need to go poop. And she was like, you could hear like the urgency in his voice. Did you actually
write that down?
Yeah, I did.
He did. You did say
I did.
He needed to go poop. Okay, sorry. I think that's why you typed that out.
And then she goes, can you hold it? And then he replied like instantly, no, my hands can't reach my booty. Like he meant
it's legitimately an issue.
Everything to him is very literal. So like he could not hold it. Like he can't go, like he can't reach it. So,
my arms are too short.
I can't do it. Panic ensued. She had a laughing fit.
Those boys are so fantastic. So Dominic's the older brother, and then Luca is his little brother.
Yeah, and
Luca's the one who had a birthday, and I love those boys. So all the kids in our family are fantastic.
What's your nickname with Luca?
I was just
Uncle
about to say,
Tool?
Yes. So I was going to say, I've got my own Sour Patch Kid moment. So a couple weeks ago, I just FaceTimed Zach and Kylie because, and as everybody knows, sometimes you're not doing a good job staying in touch with the people that you love, and you want to make sure you're checking in with them and seeing how they're doing, if there's anything. And we knew that birthday party was coming up, so I wanted to check in. And a lot of times with our family, I'll FaceTime because I get to see the kids and say hi to everybody and that sort of stuff. And Luca's sitting in bed with Zach and Kylie, or they're getting ready for bedtime. They just happen to be in the bedroom. And he started calling me this new name, which I don't care what they call me. The fact that they even call me uncle when I'm not really technically their uncle is amazing. But I am now known as Uncle Tool. So he calls me Uncle Tool, which I've been called worse, especially by Colin. So it is absolutely fine. But if anybody has any fun uncle names, because, obviously young kids, they're still learning the language, obviously, and then you get them, or they're just fucking with you and taking advantage of the fact that that can be the excuse. Absolutely like Maeve, or potentially like Luca. It's very possible.
Well, Maeve calls your brother Uncle Connie.
But she does that on purpose because Aunt Kathy calls me Shawnee all the time.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, which my mom used to call me Shawnee. So she fits that in and knocks with it, which is hilarious.
But it is funny to see your brother respond to Connie.
It is. He's a good sport about it. there's people out there that like,
Connor
if somebody
is the
called
best,
him a
like
feminine,
fun uncle.
If somebody called him like a feminine name, there's so much, you know what I mean? Like there's people out there that would be pissed
But I mean,
Connor rolls with it.
Connor is basically at their level. Like
well, I mean, yeah, he's a big kid at heart. Yeah.
Yeah. Like he gets it. Like he
does. He can interact with them really well.
Banter back and forth with them. And like,
it can be a detriment sometimes because sometimes I don't think the kids are as respectful to him as they should be. And they kind of treat him like they're his buddies, but that's for us to rope that in. So we can do it.
But he is the definition of a fun uncle.
He really is.
Yeah.
He is.
And the kids adore him.
Yes, they do. They do. Like I said, the only time where I think it's a detriment is when they act like assholes to him, like they're like playing with their friends. And it's like, nah, you can't be doing that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, hey, go to dowehavето.com, guys, or reply on any of our socials. I assume at some point, some sort of clip will get produced by AI that talks about the Sour Patch Kid moments. Tell us the time where you guys, if you have any interesting nicknames, or if your kids have ever called their siblings anything awkward or funny because they don't speak the language well, let us know. I think it would be hilarious. And we'll talk about it.
Absolutely.
Sour Patch Kid moments are awesome. But
they are.
You know what's even more awesome? Getting to know you on a deeper level.
Yeah.
And we do that with a wonderful game called Let's Get Deep.
Yeah. We're on a deeper card today.
We are on a deeper card. We're finishing up our third round, meaning this is our 9th card we've discussed on air. But this is a game that Emily and I chose because folks had asked about us getting to know each other better. But what we found out is that these are a lot of topics we haven't even really talked about before that I think we thought we did, but we're like passing ships in the night sometimes, or just things don't come up. There's a lot of questions that you don't actually get a chance to talk about. So this has been a lot of fun. So not only are you getting to learn more about us or our perspective of life, but we're getting more and more about each other.
Yeah.
And it's not associated with Love is Blind, which is really hurtful.
It is not.
Causes a lot of issues with me that keeps me up at night.
There's a lot of things.
Shout out Nick Lachey.
There's a lot of things that keep us up at night. Yeah. But, all right. So this deeper card is, who is the one person in this world that knows you the best? Well, aside from you.
Let's not do us.
Aside from you, I would think it would be my mom.
Yeah? Your mom knows all the good and all the bad.
Okay.
No, I didn't mean it like that. I'm just asking because that's what I'm thinking. So my thought process was, that like, do they know pretty much everything about you? Have you divulged kind of any and everything to them? I feel like we shield a little bit from our parents because, there's expectations and then there's some things we don't want them to stress about, It
would have been my little sister.
Becca? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But she doesn't know me now.
Yeah, but she would have if she were alive.
But she knew everything.
All the good and all the bad.
Mm-hmm, before she passed away.
Yeah.
Like everything I was ever thinking, dreaming, feeling, dreading, fearing, like in and out of every single thing, she was my confidant for that. There was not a single day that went by that I didn't tell her some part of my life that was just a part that I never shared with anyone until I met you. And even when I met you, I still told her things that I didn't necessarily tell you until we got married. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep. That makes sense. Yeah. That's awesome.
I don't like that question.
Well, it's a good question, and it's good to be able to talk about those things.
But helps, I don't know that I don't think I have that person outside of you now.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're at the point in our lives, though, and I think that's a natural progression of things. Like, you only have so much time dedicated to the day, right? And then you and me are, you okay?
Yeah.
It's all right. Hey, feel how you feel. I just want to make sure you're all right. There's only so much time in the day, so it does start to kind of come down to where it's you and me in a foxhole, essentially, trying to grind through life. And that comes off sounding bad, but no, it's just more of like our mistakes and positives and things. You tend to be more selective about what you tell folks because some of it's not beneficial it's not beneficial to them or to you because it creates a level of stress for no reason, right?
Right.
So a lot of stuff we got to keep between us and we work through it, and then we, something we did wrong, we get better from it and those sorts of things. But yeah, I agree. I would say for me, it would probably be a combination of 4 people. And it's not because I don't have the comfort level. There's probably our whole group that I would have no problem telling anything and everything to, but it's just, because of circumstance and how we've ended up overlapping each other in our lives, I would say it's probably a combination of Will, Connor, Colin, and my Uncle Greg. Probably Aunt Kathy in regards, although I would say I probably posture some things for Aunt Kathy because I don't want her to stress.
Right.
But like Greg, I kind of tell him pretty much, he's very helpful to me as far as like mentoring.
Yeah. And Greg is a giant teddy bear.
Let's not get that crazy. But the good and the bad, I don't feel like he ever judges me. And that's the same thing for the other individuals that I mentioned. And, typically when I fuck up, I'm very, 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 very hard on myself. And so sometimes I need that outlet, like, cause I just overthink it too much.
Yeah.
And that's between you and them where I'm like, I have to like probably hammer myself a bunch of times before I can move forward.
Yeah.
And then things that are successes, but I don't want to feel braggadocious. Like I'm very comfortable going to them as well, So that's a good question. It's good to have those sorts of things, and I think it's important for people in general. You have to have someone or something as an outlet, but even if it's not a friend or whatever, you have to have somewhere you can go and talk these things through, which again, counseling can be helpful with that as well.
Yeah.
But hopefully everybody out there has that type of person in their life. Yeah. Good job.
Thanks.
That was good stuff. You okay?
Yeah.
I love you.
I love you too.
You're my rosebud. I know. I miss her too. She's a great lady. You have two really great sisters. You have a really great family. It's never an easy thing when somebody's not there anymore. So I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get it.
But enough of that.
Also part of this could be, hey, it's hard to regulate your emotions when you're not sleeping very well.
And we are not sleeping well.
And it's not even necessarily like, cause everything in the world's going wrong or something like that.
No,
it's just,
life.
As you guys know, when we've talked about this multiple times on the show, our kids a lot of times are in and out of our room sleeping with us much more days than not.
Yeah.
They're sleeping with us either on our floor, or Maeve gets in the bed with us, or one of them wants to jump in the bed with us because they had a bad dream. That's an issue right there. And then of course
Minnie has
the
become
dogs,
a giant snuggle bug.
Yep. So a lot of this
I'm
is
not a fan.
self-inflicted in the sense of like, okay, we're not sleeping great there. And then last week, for example, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this too, I was doing some stuff for work, not for the show, but like for my actual job that actually makes us money so we can do this show.
And
ended up, just live in general. Yeah. And keep Emily flush in her target cash, as they say. And we ended up having an issue, and all of a sudden it went from, hey, this is going to be a quick, half hour thing, to it was 5:30 in the morning. Right. And I don't feel like I've been recovered from that. And it has affected every single thing.
Yeah.
So, and again, guys, like we had mentioned before on our previous episodes, and if you get an opportunity, we focus one on mental health for children. We focus one on physical health. We're getting most of our information is from the CDC, a little bit peppered in from National Institute of Health. So these are things where organizations that actually have funds dedicated to researching these issues, especially within our children. And so kind of like an overall just start, kind of what did we get from the CDC and stuff as far as what's the state right now? Or go ahead. Sorry,
a lot of the research that I did for this one was actually from the Sleep Foundation and the American Academy of Pediatrics, because they kind of
we didn't get our base stuff from the CDC.
Some of our stuff came from the CDC, but the Sleep Foundation actually fed the CDC. So I kind of took the middleman per se route, and I went straight to their research because they're the ones that are feeding it to the CDC.
Got it. Awesome.
But basically I learned,
you can tell who wrote the show this week.
I learned that sleep is the key factor into how your physical health and your mental health go through the cycle. Like if your sleep is off, your physical is off, your mental is off, it all aligns, but the base of your tree is sleep. So if you don't have your root of sleep, nothing else is going to branch out right.
Well, it's like your brain, right? And
yeah,
I hate to bring in a TV show here, but we just watched that episode of season 7 of Black Mirror, which, by the way, guys, we've never watched Black Mirror before, but that new season that came out, season 7, episode 1 with Rashida Jones was fucking amazing. But essentially, and not to give too much of a spoiler, she was going to die, and they're able to do a cloning thing with her brain, but then they hook it up to a network like she's a phone. And so her brain is running. Well, you find out her brain is also being used to process everything. And so she's not sleeping. Right. And you can tell how more horrible she looks, and how she's affected by the fact that she actually her brain can't take the time to shut down and repair, which is done through REM sleep.
Right. Yeah. You basically just gave the whole show away, but that's fine. Anyways. But the most interesting thing is all of this research started during the pandemic.
I think that makes sense.
At least for our take of the show. Mm-hmm. So it shows that 35% of children ages 4 through 14 are not getting the recommended amount of sleep, and ages 15 to 18 were significantly higher at not reaching at 50%. So the older you are, the higher you're at risk for not reaching your sleep goal.
So you can only imagine what it's like if you're an adult.
But regardless of any of that, 12% goes directly to girls being at higher risk. So girls need about 15% more sleep than any male does. So, and that's at any age range, I found out.
Man, this world is so fucked for women.
But it's like our biology. I get it's not because we overdo things. It's just the way our body needs to work. We need that much more sleep than any man does.
But girls are also more prone to mental health issues. And
yeah,
I just feel like this world.
But I think it goes back to the sleep, because our girls don't get half as much sleep as Seamus does. And like Seamus can stay up all night long, and he's not really, I mean, he is affected, but he's not as affected as the girls. But like,
he has the ability to bounce back quicker.
Right. Where Tegan and Maeve, like, ooh.
But yet the world is designed where everybody has to be on the same schedule of hours. There's not anything taken into accommodation for, hey, if you're a girl and you're in elementary school, you start at 10 o'clock because and this makes actual sense. Like, I understand where people would jump in and be like, well, you can't do that, blah, 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 blah. But if you were just going by what actually is best for the human body and the brain, what you're saying is that girls probably need another hour or two sleep. They should be on a completely different schedule when it comes to jobs, when it comes to all that shit.
And our school system is actually part of the problem too, because high schoolers, it all goes based on a circadian rhythm. And so the high schoolers, they need more sleep, but because their circadian rhythm based on where they're at in their age and their development actually shifts to a later state at night. And so people always make fun of like, my teenager sleeps until 2 or noon or whatever.
It's normal.
Well, actually, it really is. Like, they should be starting school later in the day, not at 7 a.m. like they are. And the little kids need to start earlier, not at like 9 or 10.
Yeah.
So like it needs to be backwards, but because we rely on those high schoolers to help get the little kids to and from school.
That's not why they do that.
Jobs and everything like that.
That's not why education does that. Education, and it's still this way today. It is the hours that were designed. It's a very archaic way of doing it. It was designed to prepare kids to work an 8-hour day and have a lunch break in between. That's what the fuck. You can go back. I mean, I did master's studies in education.
I know.
That's originally why. Oh, no, I'm saying that for the audience. Like, if it sounds crazy, go back and look at why education was, like, public education was formed. I'm not talking about private education or like, satellite programs or those, things that are external. I'm talking about public education. It is designed to fit you into a mold to be able to do a job and be a contributing member of society. That's nothing evil or like conspiracy theory. That's just a reality of they took what a societal need was at the time, built an education around it, and it's still this way today, even though we have all of this research and understanding of how it will fuck kids up. So I guess to your point, and you bring up a good point, based on these studies we're seeing, it is almost impossible for our kids not to be affected negatively because everything in the environment revolving around them wants to prevent them from having a natural sleep cycle.
Yeah.
That's kind of the takeaway.
Yeah, pretty much. Because it also directly relates to obesity and mental health issues, grades, physical efforts, attention spans. Like, you see a higher rate of people being diagnosed with like dyslexia and ADHD and behavior disorders and stuff like that. Well, it kind of goes back to their sleep patterns. Not saying that sleep is the only reason, it's just kind of affected it. And like, addiction rates are higher. That goes back to sleep. So like 45%, you have a higher, lack of sleep is directly related to childhood obesity by 45%. So if you are not sleeping as a child, you are 45% more likely to become obese or have obesity problems later on. And that goes as an adult too. Like that wasn't just for kids, that was for adults too. So like if you're not sleeping, you have a tendency to eat poor and pack on the pounds, and your body actually uses sleep to burn fat and do all of that. Well, if you're not sleeping, your body's not going to go through that process. So it's going to keep everything. But
so I guess to your point, and I don't want to cut you off, but I just kind of want to keep things grounded for anybody that's listening, and hopefully it's helpful, right? So sounds like, essentially a lot of things that we don't have necessarily control over. Now we can control what our kids are eating, right?
Yeah.
To a certain degree. And even though we struggle with that sometimes, when it gets to the mental health stuff, you're really at the mercy of trying to find help and get those things taken care of. But it sounds like here, based on what you're going to continue to tell us, and I know we're going to get into here's things that can help.
Yeah.
This is probably the best place to have direct impact that could hopefully mitigate the other things.
Yeah, because like I found that like binge drinking for college students and alcoholism, if you're not getting the recommended amount of sleep between the ages of 15 and 19, you are 10% more likely to develop a binge drinking or alcoholic addiction.
Wow.
But they say that for every extra hour of true sleep, like every time you complete an actual sleep cycle, extra, like on top of your recommended base, that you have like a 2%. I don't think I wrote that down. Like it was like 2 or 3%. It goes down.
Oh, sure. Got it.
So like the more sleep you have, you won't become as addicted. Like you could still have a problem because
to your point,
there are
you're saying
genetics.
if you can make changes, it actually is very impactful right away.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah. Like sleep is how your body, like they call it restorative because that's legit like how your body heals itself and restores itself. Yeah.
Well, you got to think about it. You're not taking in any food during that time, so your body's not dedicating energy to processing food, which again, I know we're going to talk about kind of those things that can affect sleep, and that's one of them, eating right before bed. But like, ideally, the thought is that the body is then able to actually truly dedicate time and energy at a lower state of needing energy to being able to repair itself.
Yeah.
And that is just a lot. I know that's a lot to throw at everybody, because really the problem is like, well, every room has TVs nowadays in society, and you don't have to do these things, but that's where we're being like, it's so easy to say it's a personal responsibility thing when this fucking world we live in drives you to that. And not only they use psychological tactics to make everything convenient, right?
Yeah. Sharing
accounts, streaming, and all of these things, playing video games, it pushes, hey, you have this level of convenience and entertainment, but it also pushes us to, unfortunately, practice in a lot of unhealthy things. And I don't think it is 100% on people. I think that this is like societal, and this is, corporations and how media is driven, and then also how marketing is done. They purposely use this stuff to push us into these addictive states. The human mind is it can be a very tricky thing, and I think it can be easily manipulated. And I don't think that's just an individual thought, like a person's a bad person or lazy or not making good decisions. Like, we're in an environment that really pushes us to do that. And that's why the environment, our society is the way it is right now. That's why we treat each other the way we do right now. It's all being driven. We're being manipulated. So you number one, you got to fight that. But I think that's a losing battle to fight. So really, you have these things. What is the best way that you can kind of mitigate its effect on you? You know what I mean? And what are we? I think we're at a point where we can kind of talk about that, right?
Yeah. So the Sleep Foundation gave a lot of really great ideas, and some of this is like we've heard 1,000 times. But
it's good to reiterate, because these are the things that they're saying are true. You may have heard it, but these are things that are being backed by science and study.
Yes, and by the Academy of Pediatrics and like everybody that's grouped together to work for the development of a child onward, this is what scientifically is proven to best help you grow and develop properly and become like the best child you can be. But just a range to keep in mind. If you're between the ages of 3 and 12, you need anywhere between 9 at the very, very least to 13 hours of sleep.
It's insane because our kids aren't getting that at all.
And then if your age is 13 through 18, you need at the very least 8 hours of sleep to the max of 10. So school age kids should be, bedtime. I was thinking about our own bedtime.
They need to be asleep at least by 9 to get the minimum.
Get the minimum.
Rarely.
And like, can you imagine what would...
Think about sports or whatever. They're not even done until 7:30 or whatever. You eat and you're like... And again, that's not a parent being a bad parent. That is a parent doing everything they can for their kid. And it's how sports and how all this other stuff and how what the societal importance is placed on things can affect this.
Yeah.
But this is the core thing. So yeah, you get your kids up at 6. They need to be, if they're between that age group, they need to be in bed or need to be sleeping by 9.
And like, there's a whole bunch of lists. You can go out to their website, but some of the routines that I found to be the best, like most helpful, was to create a regular bedtime, even on the weekends. So like, we're always like, well, it's the weekend, you can stay up later. I
think everybody
falls. Well, they say that like that actually does more harm because it goes against your circadian rhythm. Like they really think
that's when we don't do good. We need to do that.
A natural process that your body is telling you, I need rest.
So that's when we need to fundamentally change right away.
Yeah.
That's good to know. See, and again, I know there'll be a comment where it's like, oh, that's so profound or whatever. Then why isn't everybody doing it? So it's good to reiterate these things. And I tell you what, Emily and I, we are typically a lot more lax on the weekends. Matter of fact, it's all over the place. It might as well be the Wild West because it's the only time we get to breathe for a minute too.
Right.
And you as parents get to deserve that. But there's got to be a way that you can kind of still allow that flexibility, but then still within the time frame, so they can do the fun things they want to do. We just got to start shutting it down at 7:30, like we do 7:30, 8 o'clock, like we do during the week.
Yeah.
That's helpful.
And then the biggest one, because this was important when I was growing up, but it was different for you and it's different now for our kids too, but it was making bedrooms sleep oriented, leaving screens and blue lights out of the room, even during the day. Keep them clear of clutter and distractions, using calm colors and decorations. So like limiting like the clutter on the walls. So like, we've let our kids do posters and all of that stuff. I grew up with a very clean, simple room, and like we didn't decorate it the way that we decorate our kids. We didn't have TVs. You grew up where our kids are like what they have now, like decorations on the walls, posters, everything's in a movement kind of way. Like it's very much
they're able to put their personality in their room. Yeah.
And I'm not saying I didn't have a personality in my bedroom. It was just very clean and aesthetic.
I was just saying that was the thought
process.
But
and like we have the TV in our bedroom and it's on all the time. Mm-hmm. We have our phones on our nightstands and they're like, no, get them all out. Your bedroom needs to be for bedroom only. Use an actual alarm clock. They really recommend the rise to awake alarms, like the ones that gently wake you out of a circadian rhythm.
As opposed to your phone going off.
Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Well, in our defense, you're the one who picks that terrible ring.
I know.
And you set it 55 times.
I hit snooze 50,000 times. And then they recommend using a white noise machine if needed, like if you need to have something on in the background.
And most of your guys is like, we've noticed, like we have Apple Pod, like little Apple Pods, but like Alexa, Apple Pods, those sorts of things, they have, you can get a white noise playlist.
Yeah, free. They have them.
And they'll just play it.
Yeah. And then use a sleep mask if needed. Use dark curtains for lighter evening time. So like in the summer when it's lighter, dark, or lighter later, use blackout curtains for that. And then turn the temperature down. The ideal temperature for sleep is between 65 and 68 degrees.
Right. Again, this is where you just have to find a balance because we would have to fundamentally change everything we do in one fell swoop, right? I'm just thinking out loud here. as an adult. You're right. I'm the problem as far as the TV in regards to that's how I grew up. And I know I don't sleep as well. Number one, I would like to figure out, I didn't research this beforehand. I would like to figure out if there's some sort of screen you can put up over your TV, especially like at nighttime, but just maybe in general, that blocks out the blue light. Because like you can have glasses that do that. Why can't there be some sort of cover you put on the screen of your TV or your monitor that fucking blocks out that blue light from projecting into you? You know what I mean? That's one. I'd like to know about that. Number two, for the kids, we need to turn the TV off at night. If I need to, because I don't see how I cannot turn my fucking brain off. But it's probably the way I am is probably because of my inability to sleep when I was younger and those sorts of things. You can see where that's a cycle. Maybe I just put a movie on or a show on the iPad and I put a headphone in. And that way everything's dark. I can kind of position that to where it's not pointed anywhere near the kids if they're in our room. And then it's good. Because the only thing you have to worry about is you always get your phone in your face. I don't do that really too much at night. But then I have a TV in my face, so what the fuck is the difference? It's all the same goddamn thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So really it is routine, aesthetic, and I didn't even think the aesthetic was going to be as big of a deal, like having a bunch of stuff up that just has your mind thinking about things. Like Seamus has a Super Mario Brothers poster. He's going to think about playing. It doesn't allow your mind to kind of shut down. Yeah. So I guess but you can eliminate that with the sleep mask.
Well, and like our colors aren't very calming in our
That's what we got to do. All the kids got to wear a sleep mask. Maybe I put headphones on so there's not sound. There we go. See, we guys, there's ways to work around this. You can't just say, and I say that as like, I probably have the worst sleep environment set up for me, Emily, and the kids right now. I'm a big part of that problem. There's ways to work around it. Sorry, continue going. Because I'm really excited about you to get in this rule, because I think this is something that people can say, oh, that's obvious, but like, no, I don't really ever hear anybody talking about it. And I don't ever hear it being put into an actual good practice where you can lay it out.
I think
10-3.
Yeah. I think this is actually like what will help create like a better boundary for sleep. It's the 10-3-2-1-0 rule. And so basically 10 hours before sleep, no more caffeine. So like I'm already breaking that because I'm still drinking my coffee. 3 hours before sleep, no more food or drink, like not water, no snack, nothing.
So for the kids, see, okay, here's the thing, we got to start thinking about this. That means they have to be fed by fucking and have their last drink. That's impossible. So for so many families, that's fucking impossible. I'm trying not to get mad. It's such a dickhead thing to put a problem out there with not a solution. So during the summer and not even during summer, during the week with kids, when they get homework and they got all these things like you have to feed them at 5:00, like, hey, eat real quick, then go do an hour workout and then sweat, but don't drink anything. Like, that's fucking impossible. Like, so, but it is, I mean, I guess you can limit, I guess the key is just try to limit it as much as you can, I guess.
Yeah.
Huh?
I think the
days where you don't have, here's the thing. I guess the days where you don't have it, to your point, anytime you can get a win, where meaning they get the appropriate amount of sleep and their sleep's not interrupted, it does take those chances down. So I guess it's not about winning every day. It's about winning as many days as you can. Right. See, I got myself mad. No, I just talked myself out of it.
And then 2 hours before sleep, no more work. So like completely disconnect. That's near impossible for most Americans. You would never allow that.
I have to do the podcast and I have to make you money. You would never allow me to do that.
Oh, okay. And then 1 hour before bed, no more screens. So all blue lights, phones, all of it goes off.
Phone.
I know. I doom scroll, like legit. And then 0 is for the times you hit the snooze button. I love my snooze button. Me and her are like BFFs.
I've noticed Seamus is going to be a great complainy husband, just like me. I can tell already because he's jumping right in now when he sleeps in our room. Can somebody turn the alarm off?
Yeah, he gets really mad about it.
It's a terrible alarm. It's the worst alarm ever.
I'm sorry. But
I guarantee you when
they say that it's not like, so basically the snooze button interrupts you out of your sleep cycle.
Then you start falling back into it.
And then, but you don't get into a sleep cycle in the time that it goes back off. It's just better to just wake up.
Because you're fucking with your brain and your body at that point.
And if you actually, like if you need to sleep again, do either a 20-minute nap or a 90-minute nap. Anything in between. So
you either take a long good nap of 90 minutes
or
it's
a quick power nap.
No more than 20.
Yeah. Because anything over 20 gets you to a point where your body says, yes, okay, let's take a sleep cycle.
Yeah.
And then
if you cut it off early,
that's where people are like, I feel more tired than I was when I lay down. So then 90 minutes is how long it takes your body to complete a full cycle of sleep. So like that's when you
go through
all
one full
your
REM cycle. Mm-hmm. Nice. That's good to know. See, I didn't know that either. So it's not even like, hey, it takes a full 8 hours or 9 hours or whatever to do it. You're going and you're cycling through, and 90 minutes will successfully go through one cycle. So you've gotten through a whole period of cycle to repair your mind and rest your body.
Yes.
And that's helpful to know. See, I didn't
and like napping will count towards that. You know how I said like anywhere between like 9 and 13 hours of sleep or whatever.
Can be a part of it.
That goes towards it.
Okay.
Like a nap does.
You can piecemeal.
You can build it.
You can piecemeal in sleep. Okay. That's good to know, especially during the summer. That'll be helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's good to know.
But I do think the 10-3-2-1-0 rule would be a good starting point for us anyway.
And I think that's the thing, guys. It's just like, I think if you're going to take away anything from this, right? Sleep is your ultimate reset button. It's your ability to really allow your body to heal. And if we're not doing that, that's where all these other problems persist.
Yeah.
Metabolically and physically with your weight and your appearance, or just how your body's responding to things, how you heal from things, and then mentally, right? What's going on with your brain? Maybe you have issues, but maybe if you're getting better sleep, your ability to manage to them are much better. I guarantee you that's the truth. Because think about when we do get sleep, how much better we feel.
Right.
That's not a coincidence, but if you're doing that consistently, maybe all of a sudden you're not needing as much help in that regard of life. And you're able to actually focus on whatever the true problem is associated with that, as opposed to treating symptoms because you're not taking care of yourself and getting enough sleep.
Well, and like sleep in America versus sleep in around the world are treated totally different. I don't know that Americans value sleep.
We are a production first society.
Yeah.
What are you doing? What value are you bringing? And I certainly, as moms and dads and husbands and wives, that's always the pressure is what should you be doing? And you're always feeling bad that you're not doing enough. And that is done on purpose to create productive consumers that are constantly feeding.
Yeah.
Feeding and working. That's what they want you doing.
Well,
they don't want you resting.
We kind of have adopted like the Scandinavian.
We haven't adopted shit.
Well, we have, because we have like their thing is like you can share a bed. Like most.
Oh, you're talking about co-sleeping? Okay, that's fine. Like, I thought you were talking about
share
like
a bed,
doing
but like
a good job
everybody
of
has their
sleeping.
own cover. Like,
oh yeah. Uh-huh.
So like you can keep your body regulated at the temperature that you want. Like you're comfortable, but like you have your pillows and you have your blankets, and then
we do have the flexibility of allowing them to be in the room much better, because growing up with me, if you come in the room, it's like you're gonna not make a fuss and you're gonna be a part of whatever the system is there.
Yeah.
Or you're not gonna. You don't need to be in here. You know what I mean? So I am glad that we did. Not that it was a bad thing our parents did that. It's just, I think that studies will tell you it's not a bad, like co-sleeping is not as bad of a thing as people make it out to be. And from both a physical and a mental perspective.
Actually.
No.
There is some research, but I didn't get into it for this one. I thought I could like break that into another one.
Tell you how co-sleeping can be bad for you. I just know that like
co-sleeping has its pros and its cons, right. And it all depends on the age. At least from the research that I was doing.
Yeah, when the kids are 30, they stop sleeping with us.
There should be.
I'm not ready to give it up.
There actually should be a cutoff time.
They can cut off my time, cut their own time off. I don't know. Yeah, you're right. It's just being selfish. I just don't want to give it up
because it affects their sleep.
And what is the age? Do you know?
Their age is actually 8 years old.
Oh, well, that's not good.
At least on the CDC.
2 out of 3 we failed so far.
But it affects their sleep because they're not able to regulate their body without somebody. So they're depending on us.
Well, I think it's really more to do with the TV.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe I think that's the thing. If we can get the TV thing taken care of, then some of those other things naturally happen, and then now they're independently able to regulate their sleep in the room. And we still still be an option to be a safe haven for them, but then it's not. That's where sleep is consistently expected.
Yeah. Like we need to teach our kids we can co-regulate with our kids and like decompress together, but they need to learn how to regulate.
Yeah. You don't want them to be codependent on things. That's how bad relationships happen too. You get this codependency, this comfortability with somebody, and even though it's not a good, healthy relationship, you just can't leave it.
Yeah. And like I didn't write any of those statistics down for this show because I felt like that would go into a different segment.
It's all good.
But
it's all good.
Co-sleeping was actually a big deal. Like they actually recommended anywhere after breastfeeding to be in your own bed, like the where you Ferberize. That's actually one of like a good thing.
That's great
to do.
That's great.
But co-sleeping has its benefits because
that's what cavemen were doing. They were just threw their kid behind a fucking rock and listened to them cry all night.
It does help. Like co-sleeping can help with feeling safe and develop, good relationships with each other. But it also can lead to more.
I get it. Yeah.
As you get older, the more negatives it has.
No, I get it. It makes sense. It does. It makes sense. And guys, just hang in there. Because I tell you what, even though it's the one that can be most impactful and probably the one you have most control over, it's probably the hardest one to consistently get right.
Well, yeah, because you just gotta by the end of the day, we're exhausted.
Yeah. Yeah. I
just want to go to sleep. So if you're going to sleep, just sleep in here.
So this world, guys, is geared to fuck you when it comes to this stuff. That's essentially what it is. Best thing we can do is try to win the day. Don't think about it as like holistically this month, this year, this life. Just try to win the day. That's probably the best way to attack it. What can we do proactively to get ourselves geared up to have the most quality? It's not going to be perfect, but the most quality night of sleep for the kids. And just think about those things. And if you guys have any questions, just reach out to us at dowehavto.com. Submit a question to the show. We'll, of course, have shorts based off of this show once it's released. So certainly, comment, provide any questions on there. Give your own feedback. You can help other people, too. There's people that see these videos. Not a lot, but there's people that see these videos. Put your own fucking experience on it. Let's start trying to help people. That's what we need to be here for. Don't worry about watching shit, people doing dumb shit or fails or that kind of stuff. If we want to be an agent of change, we have to start trying to help people. We have to be outside of ourselves. And this is where we can do that. Okay. Yeah. So comment. You want to break down our socials for us?
What works for you? What doesn't work for you? Like, let us know.
And even though you think you might know everything, like you're going to hear something you haven't heard before, you're going to hear it. It is the same information, but from a different angle of life, and you might get something out of it. So just be open. Where can they get us on our socials, my love?
You can follow us or submit questions at dowehavto.com. You can also share your Sour Patch Kid moments there, or tag us on our socials with hashtag Sour Patch Kid moments. You can follow us at YouTube at youtube.com at Do We Have to a Marriage Podcast, or Instagram, Threads, Facebook at do.we.have.to. Twitter, X is at Do We Have To Pod, and TikTok is at Do We Have To A Marriage Pod. You can also find us and follow us on Peloton. Follow Sean at Do We Have To Pod KC, or follow me, Emily_in_KC. We do have a team at hashtag Do We Have To Crew.
It's not hashtag you do it every episode. It's just a Do We Have To Crew
there's
team.
There's a hashtag in front of it.
You can do a hashtag that shows on your account. There's a hashtag for Do We Have To Crew. However, there is a Do We Have To Crew team. If you add Emily or I, we can add you to the team. So that's been growing every week. And congratulations to everybody, because the hours that everybody's been working out, although I have not been contributing to that as much as well the last couple of weeks, has gone up every single week. And our wonderful winner, who will win, it doesn't end until today, is Krabby Cakes for most workouts in a month. We'll have a challenge out tomorrow for the month of May, which will be the most time worked out. So can't just do a quick 5-minute workout and then get that in. Not saying Krabby Cakes, I know you didn't do that, but I'm just saying now we'll focus on just overall workout time. How much have we been working? And that'll be our competition for the month.
Yeah. I like it.
And so guys, again, went over a lot of information. Some of it, I just feel like as I was going through it too, I was like, how the fuck is that going to work? Just be kind to yourselves. Take it a little bit at a time. Attack the problem, not the person. Make sure you're working with your partners and your kids and your family. Attack the problem, not the person. And just keep up the good fight, guys. Attack it day by day. I love you, Rosebud.
I love you too.
Oh, also, God, I almost left it out. Don't be an asshole. Have a great day, everybody.
Wake up, I'm about to shake up every little thing, show you all that we can be. Come dance in my glove.